I'm going to let people jump right on here, but if you're seeing this in the replay, know that this was alive. Oh, it's bouncing around. So sometimes you can't see the questions on the replay when people ask and those kind of things. So if you're watching the replay later, that's what I'm talking about. So we have been out of town for it feels like the last 2 weeks, which is just kind of crazy for us because we hardly ever are out of town. We have traveled more in 2022 than we really have combined in the last 25 years of our marriage. So that being said, we just literally got back into town a half an hour ago. We had an amazing time in Seattle at the Space Needle and saw the fireworks and went to Moulin Rouge. It's a Broadway play that was in Seattle and something night and all the things. So anyways, we are back home and I wanted to show you what I had produce wise. That's fresh produce, not my canned or frozen produce. But anyway, so you kind of see what I have here. And I haven't went to the grocery store since December 5th. So yes, we were out of town, so we haven't ate all of this, but sometimes I'm don't eat those because I want to show them later for a video. And that happens a lot here. So I purposely am trying not to eat something like this artichoke, which we're going to be filming and talking about tomorrow when we have content day here. But so there's certain things that sometimes when I'm buying groceries, I'm thinking, oh, I need that for a blog post, or I want to show you what it looks like being almost a month old. So that's kind of, some of these items are like that. So, normally before I started the Cross Legacy, we would just eat the food. I wouldn't be saving it for a picture. So that always comes up. So I just want to talk about that for a second. But all of this produce, I don't know if you can see it. You'll be able to see it in the pictures that I am going to attach. Here, let's see. All of this produce is at least from December 5th or earlier. And I'm going to go one by one and kind of talk about it. But from December 5th, and today is January 1st. So I just want to really encourage you that if you do take the time when you go grocery shopping and you bring your items home and take care of them and store them properly, they really can last for weeks. And how many of you guys have went into the grocery store just to get that one thing and ended up pushing a cart full of groceries out wondering what in the world just happened? Because you just needed to go in for an avocado and ended up spending $100. So I teach a grocery solution course that teaches you how to stay out of the grocery store and have food security in your home. And then I also have 2 books. The original book, I Bought It Now What, is on the bestsellers list on Amazon, but you can get both of them on our website at 𝐻𝐿egacy.com, which is also linked in the bio. So anyways, this is all written out, tips everywhere in the books. I Bought It Now What, and then there's a summer edition for the other 25 items. So total, there's 50 items, produce items that I list out all the tips. And then we also have a YouTube channel that has 235 videos or something that goes through all these things too. So anyways, first I'm going to talk about oranges. So oranges, a lot of people don't think about it, but they don't wash them when they bring them home. So when the oranges are at the grocery store, these are actually fresh from a farm, but when they're at the grocery store and they have a moldy one, they just take it out and throw it away, and they leave all those mold spores touching your other oranges. So even though you're not eating the peel, it's still super important to wash them with the vinegar wash when you bring them home. So the instructions to do that is on the blog, thecrosslegacy.com/oranges. So oranges are one that a lot of people just don't wash when they bring home, but they will actually last for months if you do. So I normally keep my oranges in the refrigerator if I have enough room. But right now I have 40 pounds of oranges. So I have one crisper drawer that's totally full of oranges and 2 baskets sitting here, or bowls of oranges. These will last for months, and then as the refrigerator starts to empty out, then I'll just keep adding more in there. But if you don't know, December is harvest season for oranges. So those oranges that you're buying in July at the grocery store were probably in cold storage somewhere. So same with the thing with apples. People don't think about the apples only being picked one time a year, and they're mostly a year old when you get them at the grocery store. So why not just keep them at your house and have food security at your house instead. So the oranges are December harvest time. So we think about eating seasonally. And then pomegranates are my other favorite. So I did have a box that I bought on December 5th, and then somebody brought me another box. So I got another box for Christmas because people knew that I love them so much. I love these, eating them slower. So you can, well, I wash them when I bring them home, but you can like take a spoon and like hit them, and you can make them in a bowl. I have white countertops and I don't want to do that. I worry that they're going to stain. I don't want to have that mess. But also, when I just eat them a wedge at a time, I'm diabetic and I love just that slower snack. So instead of grabbing a whole handful of fruit, I can sit and watch a movie or something and eat, you know, just a chunk at a time. And it's a really great snack. It's slower, it's a whole food, it's all the things. So pomegranates in the wintertime are like my favorite. And normally during the wintertime, we don't buy strawberries at all. So the ones that we bought December 5th, we have already used up, and I will buy them again in January. But normally I don't buy fruit out of season. But I do like to be able to show you like, oh, these are 3 weeks old, but we have ate them already. But the blueberries that I bought on December 5th, these are how many I still have left. So blueberries will normally last 6 to 8 weeks. 6 to 8 weeks. So these are almost exactly a month old. On January 5th, they'll be a month old, and they're totally fine. So, and for some reason, if I wasn't going to go through them quick enough, I could always throw these in the freezer and then use them for smoothies. So my other thing that lasts a long time that people don't think about is grapes. So normally grapes will last 40 days. 40 days for grapes. Again, these were purchased on December 5th. So, and they're totally perfect. So this is a big Costco pack. When it's, when I first get it, it's like totally full on here. So I've been trying to use, I've been eating all the pomegranates, honestly, instead of eating grapes, for like my fruits, because I do have to cut back a little bit on the fruit that I'm eating, because again, I'm diabetic. But anyways, so those are grapes. So grapes last 40 days normally. I have a video for that on YouTube also. And then the blueberries last 6 to 8 weeks. And then strawberries last 3 weeks, and like a good 3 weeks. And then raspberries and blackberries last between that 2 to 3 week period. So again, and then I just put them in the freezer. If I don't, I'm going to grab one. If I am not going to use it in time, I just put it in the freezer. So I just saw something else when I was in there. I'm gonna grab it. These are pomegranate seeds. Can you see them? So I can use these that were in the freezer. I can use these in smoothies and different things too, because I have a high-powered blender, but they're kind of fun to add to different recipes too. So, okay. I just saw a question I want to ask. Somebody asked if I have 2 refrigerators and don't have room in the fridge for my large jars. I do have 2 refrigerators, but downstairs is barely used. So right now there's 8 of these in my, here we go. Downstairs is 8 jars of pickles. So it's more of a harvest drink fridge. I don't really store food stuff in there unless it's like pickles that I made a whole ton of. So there's 8 jars in there. It's kind of Mike's fridge. So our kitchen fridge is where we're doing everything. And then that fridge is more for like harvest season kind of stuff when I'm trying to do stuff like that. But when you start using your leftovers and eating your leftovers instead of having a refrigerator full of leftovers that nobody's eating, you'll be surprised how much room you do have in the fridge. So normally I have room for 2 of the gallon jars, and then the rest are half gallons and quart size jars. These are half gallons today. These fit in my door really nicely too of my fridge, which is really nice. So yes, I do have 2 fridges, but we don't put produce. I hate to say it, it's the bear fridge. But so I do have it for the pickles. So these are raspberries. So those are ones that I have froze this summer. I freeze them on a sheet in the freezer, and then I put them in a bag. And so these are like at least 6 months old, July-ish. Oh, there's like July is when I got them. And so I'm so glad I have a moderator. I'm thankful for you being on here today. Holy cow. So I spend on average 4 hours a day answering questions that to people that are truly wanting to learn how to save money on their groceries and to feed their families better. If you're a spammer, just go away. I'm not going to answer your questions. I'm not going to engage with you. We're just going to delete you. I don't want that kind of engagement. We have 106,000 followers on here that are legit followers. So everybody that's on here and that is here because they truly want to feed their families better, or they want to eat better, or they want to save money in the New Year's, like, you are welcome here. If you're a spammer, just go away. We don't need you. So I don't want that kind of engagement, and we're not going to engage in it. So that being said, these are raspberries and blueberries, blackberries, strawberries. I cut off the top, but I freeze them on a sheet, and then I put them in bags, and they will last around 6 months if I have them in a bag. These are totally fine. These are from the summer. And then if I'm trying to have them for the whole year, then I'll put them in vacuum saver bags. But normally just putting them in a freezer safe Ziploc is perfect. So anyways, I was talking a lot. Okay, I grabbed this out of the freezer. This is spinach. So this is another one that if I have too much spinach, and I only go to the grocery store once every 3 weeks. So if I have too much and I happen to have some left over, I just put the spinach in the freezer and I dropped it on the counter. So this is what it looks like frozen. It's like crinkly and great, and you can just throw them right into eggs or different things. If somebody asked me a question here, I'm going to answer. But by doing that, I always have spinach in the freezer or kale in the freezer that I can throw into soups or eggs or different recipes. And then I normally have fresh spinach also. So again, this is from December 5th. So I washed it when I brought it home. Perfect. I washed it when I brought it home, which kills off the mold spores, E. coli, and listeria. And greens for listeria is like the top thing that it gets recalled for. So I normally store spinach in a stasher bag like this, or this style bag. Sometimes I put them in the glass containers too, but I don't always have space for it. And I push out the air and then I seal it up. So while they're in the fridge, they have a paper towel, but when I go to put them in the freezer, then I take the paper towel out so it doesn't get all mushy. So somebody asked why I put it on the cookie sheet first before I freeze it. If you look at this, I didn't do that for this. So it's one big glob in there. So I would have to defrost it a little bit to be able to get like a cup of this out. So if you don't freeze it first on a sheet, then it becomes a big glob, which you could still use like all of that in a recipe. Sometimes for different blueberries and stuff, I will bag it up in 2-pound bags because I know that, or 2-cup bags, because I know that that's what I'm going to use for a blackberry cobbler or something. Bags. Somebody asked where I got my bags. These are on our Amazon storefront. So if you go to the link in the bio and you look for our Amazon storefront, they are there. These are stasher bags. And then there was another brand too that I was really happy with, and I can't pronounce it. So it starts with an E, like Elkanon. I probably said it wrong. But anyways, I'm going to throw the spinach back in the freezer just super quick so it doesn't get all mushy. Okay. So that was that. I have spinach on the counter. It's going to bug me. So I wanted to show you. This is sage and thyme from November 5th is when I went. November 5th. So I did it before a speaking engagement in November. This is sage. So it's not moldy. It's all perfect. I'm dropping it. It's just perfect. So this is 2 months old. And then there's some thyme in here. The thyme's getting a little dried out, but again, it's not moldy. I can still use it like it's a dried herb. It's like not a big deal. So, anyways, December 5th. So this is 2 months old. So how often do you buy herbs and you just toss them out? So this is another one that's in our book where I talk about it more, but I call these woody herbs. So I keep them this way in a glass container with a paper towel, and I washed them and dried them first. And then this is parsley from November 5th. So one of these has a broken, it got caught in the door, so it's broken. But normally every 10 days or so, which we've been out of town, I'll trim off the ends and put it in new filtered water and then put it back in. So again, November 5th, so parsley and cilantro, this is how I keep it this way. Normally for 6 weeks, this is 2 months. So it's totally, well, this one's broken. Like you can see where the stem's broken, so I should just break that one off. But normally it will just stay fresh the whole time. And then I normally, about every 10 days, week or 10 days, whenever I use it, I'll just cut off the bottom of it. So those are those. And then Brussels sprouts, these are still from Thanksgiving, so I bought these November 5th also. So this is what was left of them. I kind of forgot about them. They were sitting in the back of the refrigerator. I forgot I had a big jar of them and then a little tiny jar. And so anyways, Brussels sprouts, I don't wash before I put them in the jar. So, and when you open it up, it will smell like Brussels sprouts. So just so you're warned. And normally they stay fresh for about a month. So I'll probably make ramen or something and use the rest of these up. And then somebody asked, how often do I organize my fridge? About once a month. So I kind of do it that week before I go grocery shopping. So like, oh my goodness, I need to use all of these things up. I kind of look to see what I can use up in the next week. I obviously do not need to go to the grocery store this week, and so I'm going to push it off for another week. And then, you know, it's already perfect and lovely when I go to put the groceries away. So these are tomatoes that are a month old. So cherry tomatoes. Cherry tomatoes I put in a jar like this and then put in the refrigerator, and they last around 3 weeks to a month. Once I kind of get to this month mark is when I'm not eating them so much fresh, and I'll put them in an egg dish or something just to get them used up, or a pasta dish or something like that. So about that month mark is where they're starting to deteriorate a little bit, but they're still okay to eat. Somebody asked about the Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts and cabbage, I don't normally wash when I bring it home. I wash it later in salt water. So that's another one that's in the book. But I wash it with salt water and warm water. When I bring it home, they just don't dry out all the way. So, all right. These are carrots and celery from November 5th. November 5th. So this is almost 2 months ago. Celery from November 5th. Let's grab a carrot. November 5th. Now I have all these little tiny pieces in here because I did it a month ago too. I can't break this one. November 5th. So, okay, I'll answer that. Because I have all these little broken ones in here too. But anyways, I get whole carrots and I peel them and I put them in these like stick-sized pieces because then we can use it in hummus or different dips and different kinds of things. And I can always chop it smaller and use them up. But these are from November 5th. So I had bought a ton before Thanksgiving, like 20 pounds of carrots and 4 things of celery. So this is all we have left. So don't think we haven't ate a ton of carrots and all that kind of stuff. This is all we have left. And then I have a couple squashes that are still left and zucchini that are in the pantry. So this is a butternut squash that I still have left. This will still, it's totally, you know, solid. You can hear it. So this will last for a couple more months still. And it's from this fall. So it's from like around September. And then I have, I didn't grab them. I have like garden zucchini. So the ones that are, you know, like, you know, 4 inches, the ones that are longer than this and this big. Those you can keep in your pantry because they've been cured by the sun. The ones that you put, the smaller ones that are cucumber size, you want to keep those in your fridge. The carrots, if they're chopped and placed in a glass container, they'll keep for weeks. Yeah. So glass container, they'll stay fresh. Well, normally I say a month, so they stay fresh for a month. For some reason, sometimes my shoulder hurts and I can't peel and carrots always like the day I go grocery shopping, so sometimes I put it in the crisper drawer and then I forget about them, and it's been 2 weeks and they start to get like, where you can bend them. Then if you put them in water like overnight or for a couple hours, filtered water, because it'll take on the taste of whatever water you put it in. So if you put it in tap water, it'll taste like chlorine. But if you put it in water for a few hours or overnight, it will crisp back up. So if you left them in the crisper drawer and didn't want to do that, so you can like refresh them. So celery and carrots, you can do that, but they don't need to stay in that water. So they only need to be in there until they crisp back up for a few hours, and then dry them back out and then cut them up and put them away. So this is funny. I always have a bunch of onions here. My neighbor said that she wasn't going to use these white onions. I don't normally buy white onions, but she wasn't going to use them. And so she brought them to me for like over a month ago. Like I've had them at least a month. And I was kind of laughing at the time when she said she wasn't going to use them in time, because I was like, they're going to last for months. But anyways, I always have at least 5 onions in the house. And sometimes I normally buy them in the 20-pound bags. I like to have onions, but when you store onions and garlic near each other, they are happy. So they don't have to be together, but you can keep them separate. But onions and garlic are happy. These are 2 items that normally last harvest season to harvest season. So, normally fall to fall. So these are potatoes. So this potato is still dirty. It is from our garden outside. You can see the dirt on it. So the potatoes don't like to be washed when you first bring them home or inside from the garden. And then I don't rewash them if I was going to get them from the store. But a potato normally lasts from harvest season to around March, and that's when it wants to be planted. So then it starts eyeing more. Unless you start with an onion, and then it will start eyeing sooner. So the onions and the potatoes will start killing each other off. So just be thinking about that when you're storing your produce. You don't want to store these 2 items together, even though they are both root vegetables. So keep them 3 feet apart if you can, and they will last. Well, this is from August. It will last all the way till March. I have a whole tub of them in the other room, and then your onions will last all the way year to year. So now I have dirt everywhere and it's driving me bonkers, but I think the last thing I have to talk about here is avocados and lemons. So avocados will last for a month. And this is one thing that I used to run to the store probably 2 to 3 times a week to go get. So when you get your avocados, if you get organic ones, they are not sprayed with ethylene, which is a growth hormone. So they'll actually stay fresher longer. And then when you store them in the refrigerator with lemons in the same crisper drawer, they will stay fresh for over a month. So avocados normally stay fresh for a month, and lemons will stay fresh for like 6 weeks to 2 months. So I normally only buy lemons every other month and then avocados every time. So anyways, that is kind of all my stuff that I need to eat this week before we go grocery shopping. Well, not all of it. I'm not eating 40 pounds of oranges this week, but I'm just an example of how you can have food security in your home, and your produce items can last, and you can save money on groceries and still feed your family good and healthy things. So again, if you go to the link in the bio, thecrosslegacy.com is where you will find all the blog posts that we have, all the different recipes. There's the listing for the course, and right now until tomorrow, so until January 2nd, the code is still enabled on there for Holiday 15. So you have to enter the code to get the discount, but it's still there until tomorrow. So all day today on January 1st, if you're watching this, the course is on sale. Because honestly, we forgot to take it off of there, and somebody got the course and we were like, oh, that's still working. So I'm like, just leave it up another day. So anyway, so it will be there until tomorrow, the course. And then we have 2 different ways to buy the book. preferably to buy it from thecrosslegacy.com, and it's called I Bought It Now What. If you just look under the tab that says book, it's listed there. So there's the first 25 items that we did for the books, and then we have a second book that has 25 more items that are different. So between the two books, there's 50 different produce items, and I go over all these kinds of tips. So that also is on the Cross Legacy. And then if you're out of the country, in a different country, because right now we're only selling on our website for the eBooks in the United States. If you're in another country trying to get the book, you need to do it through Amazon. So it's on the Amazon bestseller list, which is kind of exciting. And I know every single day I get asked, I want it in a printed form. So do I. So we are working really hard, and we are praying for miracles that we can get this printed and on store shelves at some point. Like, it would be really amazing, but it's a very slow process. So getting a book published where it's like ready to be on store shelves and that kind of stuff, it's like a 2 to 4 year process. So I know I can save you more than $10 in produce in the next year. So don't wait for the printed book to come out at some point. Yes, we are trying to do that. But so the books and the course is all on the Cross Legacy. And just to go over the course a little bit, our family only spends $135 per person on groceries. So we are an allergy family. I am diabetic. We buy mostly organic, whole ingredient kind of items. So kind of all of the excuses I'm able to tackle with all of my experience that I've had raising a family with all these different needs. And I grew up on a farm in a garden. I've always had a garden, and I'm a canner and all those kind of things. So thinking about how long produce lasts, like, these are not just skills that I'm looking up on TikTok and then posting about. They're things that are tried and true in our family that we have done for a long time. So in the course, I teach you guys how to take inventory, how to reduce your food waste, what your grocery budget could be, and how to reduce going to the grocery store so often, teaching you how to buy meat in bulk and different items, how to store different cheeses and which cheeses store better in the freezer, and all these different kinds of things. So every month we are putting another module in the course, so it will just continue to get bigger and bigger. And over time, we will keep raising the price of the course. So once you are in the class, it's online and you can do it at your own pace and you are set. So you're in there. So if you're truly wanting to save money on groceries this year, and you're truly wanting to feed your families better, like, this is a perfect thing for you to join in on. So it's so much fun to be able to try to give other families a little bit of stress off their shoulders and a little bit more hope in the kitchen, and just not so much worry about what's for dinner and if you have to feed your kids today. So again, if you are truly wanting to save money on groceries, I answer all of the questions in the comments that are like true and legit on Messenger or in the comments. I read every single one of those. And if you're here just to spam, we just delete you. So don't even try. So anyways, Happy New Year's. And I hope this year is the best year ever. And just enjoy it every single day. So thank you for being here, and we truly appreciate you.